Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien. You don't have auto dubbing on. I'm just kidding. You're in this club. Isn't that annoying that every time you click a video, it's just auto dubbing? It's so annoying. I'd rather hear a language I can't speak than auto dubbing. That's how bad it is. Anyway, I've been meaning to make this for some time now, but I am going to be ranking all of the main Resident Evil games. I'm going to be including Revelations because they're the canon games as well. So pretty much the main games and the remakes. I played all of the main games for the first time in this year, 2025. But by the time you see this, it might be 2026. So yeah, this was a video I was meant to release at the end of the year, but I don't think this will upload until the 1st of January in Australia. So this will be my first 2026 video here, but for you, by the time it's uploaded, maybe it'll still be 2025. But yeah, I'm going to be ranking all of them, 16 games. Not these games. These games, no. I've played these two, and they're great. I just haven't finished them because I broke my PS3. I've been meaning to open it and just fix the disk drive, and I made it worse. So that's what I get for being productive on time off. I was like, you know what? I'll finally do it. And I made it worse. And now, not even digital games I purchased will run. So, yeah, I'm not finishing those games anytime soon. But I'll just be ranking all the main games. Quick story before I rank them all, how I got into it. I love Dino Crisis. I played it when I was young. Um, then I played it as a teenager. They brought it back to PS5 and I was happy and I played it and I was craving a game like that, tank controls, horror, survival horror with tank controls. And I was told that Resident Evil was pretty much like the same thing except zombies and I was like, oh, okay. And I tried out Resident Evil 1 and I wasn't too sure if I was going to get into it or not, but I played it and I loved it and I had just literally played all of the other Resident Evil games after it. Pretty much carried my 2025. 2025 sucks, so hopefully 2026 is better, but it pretty much carried me in 2025. It was just so fun playing all of them. There was maybe two games I didn't really enjoy so much. I'm sure you know what those two games are. Um, I mean, look, technically there's three games, but I don't think it is as bad as people say, but I kind of like it for other reasons. But yeah, maybe there's three games, two and a half for me, maybe. But so yeah, I just craved the game that was tank control survival horror, and yeah, made by the same team, Resident Evil 1, and and so on. And I played 2 and 3, and I pretty much own all the games now on disc except for the first three games. And actually, no, the first the first four games I don't own on disc. I'd like to, but pretty expensive now. I mean, I could get Code Veronica X. I don't think that's expensive, but Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, now they're pretty expensive. But everything else I own on disc now. I own them all digital. And yeah, it was really great. And here I am. I played them all through 2025, and I'm going to be ranking them all. If someone says, it took me a long time to finish them all, I work Monday to Friday. I'm a parent. I can only play games for a few hours at night. I mean, sometimes I do during the day, but I can't play horror games with my kid around. So that's another reason why. So I have to wait until nighttime. And even then, sometimes I'll get tired. So yes, but I there was one game I thought I wasn't going to finish by the end of the year because that's how long it was. But then when I went on holidays for 1 month, I smashed out the last 2.5 games I had. So let's get started. Enough blah 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 blah. Here we go. Resident Evil 1. So yeah, my first Resident Evil game. I could pick between Chris or Jill. I picked Jill. I'm like, she looks cool. She looks good. I even know that it was sort of easier, like the game. Not easier, just more like you don't have to find small keys. You just get the lockpick. Whereas Chris, yeah, he can kill better. But yeah, I decided to use Jill. I don't know, she just looks cute, so I just selected her. Usually I'm like, yeah, I'll pick the dude. But this time, I don't know. I just wanted to pick Jill, and yeah, I love Jill. So the game, it's obviously people say it's old, outdated, and stuff. I love how cheesy the lines are. The OST. is really good. I love the OST. The idea it's all in a mansion is really good. Then you go outside and other stuff like that. The thing is, going Dino Crisis to Resident Evil 1 was a bit like, oh, I'm not saying easy, the puzzles were hard. The puzzles are hard. Um, but just the enemies, zombies, they were just slow and whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a bit easy. But then there was more zombies, and then there was hunters, and I was like, holy shit. And so the game obviously gets harder as you play, which is obvious, um, but just I'm glad there was other enemies that weren't just zombies, hunters and yeah, the dogs and oh my god. But yeah, it's really good. And then you find out Wesker was pretty much bad the whole time, and yeah, so it was a very good game. Then you fight the tyrant at the end. I did hate how you go to a door and it's just like you need a key, you need this key. Then you go to another door, you need this other key. Then you go to another door, you need this other key. You go to a door and it's like you need this other key, and it's just like, oh my god. Besides that, it's really good. I just my favorite thing about the game was just the lines. They're just so funny. The Jill sandwich, that was so good. Barry was just so funny. Um and then my favorite scene. This is probably my favorite scene in all of Resident Evil. It's like, Enrico, is that you? And he goes, yeah. Like it's me rolling for such a long time. Don't come any closer. Like, oh, it's so good. And go when he gets shot. And I love Wesker with Chris as well. Chris, stop it. It's just, but it was just good. I just didn't know what to expect when I was going. I was like, oh, zombies, but it was actually much deeper than that. And Wesker betraying Stars, the Tyrant, OST, and everything. It was fun. It was very tricky, but it was fun. It's S tier for me. I love Resident Evil 1. It's a very good game. My least favorite thing is that it's, some puzzles are really hard, and you just need a lot of keys to open certain doors. And it's like, oh yeah, look at Barry, he shoots open a door. And it's like, well, I wish I could just do that sometimes, but you can't obviously because that's cheating. But yeah, just besides needing all the keys and all that, and some of the puzzles being hard. But that's not enough for me to put it in A or something. It's definitely an S rank game. It is so good. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I will admit I haven't finished it as Chris yet. I'm going to. Um, I have played as Chris, but I just finished as Jill, and yeah, but it's a very good game. But S tier game. Resident Evil 2. I finally get to see the character that people talk about, Leon, because I didn't know shit about Resident Evil before playing him. I have a friend who likes Resident Evil, and sometimes he'll talk to me about it. And I remembered some stuff, but it all went out. Oh, by the way, this is not influenced by people online saying they love this game, they love that, and it makes me change my influence. None of that. Just I'm mentioning that because I just want to say it all comes from my experience as a new fan playing all of them. It's nothing that online influenced me going, oh yeah, you know what, this game was actually pretty good. It was better than I thought. No, all me. Just what I mentioned that. But I did sort of know about Leon, but not really much. But I got to see him. Just the thing is with me playing a game that has different characters sort of throws me off, but not really in Resident Evil. I don't know why. Like it doesn't really throw me off. Final Fantasy, it did. But Resident Evil, I didn't care. I was like, cool, I get to play as another character. But I liked seeing the original characters too. So anyway, Resident Evil 2. When I first played it, it was very hard. You can tell that they could fit more zombies in this game because, good God, there was a lot of zombies at the start, and I had to run by all of them, and I was like, oh my God. And it was really hard at first because I just had to get used to it. Because there was lots of zombies. But Resident Evil 2, like, I love the story. I love the story in 1 as well, but 2, I love the story, the characters, Leon and Claire, Ada and Sherry. And I felt like it was more fluent than Resident Evil 1. It was definitely more fluent. Like, it wasn't, you need this and that. I mean, of course, there was some stuff where you need this and that. but it wasn't as bad as Resident Evil 1. We had to use all these keys to open these doors and this and that. It was more consistent. Um, it was more smooth. Great OST, great characters. Love the story. Ada gets involved and she's great. The thing is, when I first played it, I only played as Leon. I didn't play as Claire. I didn't want to do the whole A and B thing. At the time, I just want to play one story and that's it. And I don't know. I think it's because it's a skill issue. I can confirm it's a skill issue. I just wasn't good at the games. I mean, but I was sort of cheating. Where if I died, I would just rewind. I did that for the first 3 games only. But before anyone judges me, I played them after again without cheating. Just thought I'd say that. But anyway, so when I first played, I just played as character A, Leon. That's it. But it was really good. Final boss was very hard for me. But then when I replayed it, I did not die once. When I did Leon as A again. Because I was excited. You know what I said? I said I had to emulate 2 and 3 because they were not on the PlayStation Shop. Only 1 was, which I found very strange. I was like, okay, why is 1 there but not 2 and 3? So I did emulate 2 and 3. And then once I finished them, some months after, like, oh, hey, they're coming to PlayStation 4 and 5 now. I was like, well, fuck you, Sony. Like, I wish you just brought them before. But I was excited to replay them because I wanted to have just wanted to play it the official way with the data on my PS5 and all. But anyway, very good story, good weapons. And then I did play Claire Part B, B character Claire. So I played them A and B. And it was good. I got to see the Sherry stuff with Claire, and I really enjoyed it. Mr. X, oh my god, I love Mr. X. He wasn't there as much as in the remake because he's only in the character B scenario, and he wasn't there as much in the remake. He was there all the time, but yeah, Mr. X was great. The Lickers, oh my god, Lickers, they were intense. They were there early in the game as well. And it's a very weird police station, but I do like it. I do like it. It's a very good game. Great OST. It's very fluent. It's very fluent. I like how they mention stuff from 1, and there's the STARS office and everything. It's great. It's a very good game. I sometimes go, is it better than 1? And yes, it is. I love 1. I love 1 so much, and I feel bad because it's my first game. But 2's S, by the way, for sure. 2 is S. So yeah, when I first played it, I sort of cheated rewinding, and when I replayed it, I didn't cheat, and it was just a good experience. And yeah, just I sucked at first when I was playing the Resident Evil games. All right, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I was excited to play this because I get to play as Jill again, and Nemesis seemed like a pretty cool villain, boss. And then the stalking happened, and I was like, holy shit, how do I escape him? Oh my god, it was such a, like, because I didn't, like I said, when I played Resident Evil 2 for the first time, I didn't play the character B part. So I wasn't used to someone stalking you like Mr. X, but no, Nemesis stalks you more than Mr. X. But anyway, so I'm playing Resident Evil 3, and it's very good. Very, very good game. I did find it really hard though, especially if Nemesis stalking all the time. And the Nemesis boss fights, it was just very hard for me. But it was good. It was good. Sometimes it got confusing where to go with the maps because the map is just so different compared to the other games. And there's downtown, uptown, and all around. And it's like, oh my god, like, so I would get confused sometimes. Jill was great in Resident Evil 3. Carlos was funny. I really liked Nikolai. I liked him. The accent and just, being evil. But I like the characters in that game. Nemesis is very cool. I love Nemesis. It took some getting used to just running away from him, just and you're in the the RPD, and jumps through the window. I was like, oh my god, I got scared for the first time because the glass shattered noise. Um, and then he's just chasing me, and I'm like, oh my god, how the fuck do I get rid of him? And yeah, so it was a very crazy, intense game. It wasn't the final boss fight. It was at the church. Like, yeah, it was like the last time Nemesis was normal before you fuck his body up. I think. Yeah, there was this one boss fight. It's the one before the final boss fight. It's the one before that. He was just too much for me. Took me like hundreds of times to beat Nemesis in that boss fight. It was so hard, and because of the boss fights being hard, even the that worm boss, I think it's a worm, the one from underground. That boss took me such a long time to beat as well, and I originally had Resident Evil 3 at A rank only because how hard the game was, even though I enjoyed everything else. But when they released it on what's this doing up here? I gotta put it back here. But when they released it on PlayStation 4 and 5, I replayed it and I can confirm it was a skill issue. I destroyed that Nemesis boss fight in like 2 tries. And that worm boss, I didn't even lose once. So I can confirm it's not hard if you. I mean, I'm not going to put in A rank because it's hard. It was a skill issue. And after being more experienced with the game and playing it again, I can confirm it's an S tier game. It is so good. I'm not going to put in A because it's hard and Nemesis, but no, none of that. I got used to Resident Evil by the time 3 came out on PlayStation 5, and I could just go through and just I didn't really lose much. I had a lot of ammo, so I just knew what to do this time. I was more prepared, and yeah, I can confirm skill issue. I'm not going to put in A. It is an S tier game. The first 3 Resident Evil games, S tier. Now we have the real Resident Evil 3. I'm just kidding, but technically it is the real Resident Evil 3. Because, yeah, it was supposed to be called Jill's Escape. Code Veronica X. It is actually the first Resident Evil game where I couldn't cheat because it's a PS2 game on the PS4 and 5, and you can't rewind, you can't have like save slots, like where you can just load your data like with a click of a button. No, none of that. And it just happened to be harder than the first 3 Resident Evil games. And my god, yes, it was. But you know what? It's such a long game. The the OST is always great in every Resident Evil game. But with Code Veronica, I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is so good. When I looked at on YouTube the songs I've played the most on YouTube, the credits song was like in my top 5. I was like, oh my god! But I love the credit song. It's just a great OST. The game is good. I love how I got to play as Claire and Steve. I didn't like him at first, but then I thought it was kind of cool how he had that moment where his dad was a zombie and he had to shoot him, and the way he says a father is funny, and Suri, just the way he talks. But I did like his character the more the game went on. So I'm not a Steve hater like some people. I was at first. I was like, who the fuck's this goofy blood? Get him out of here. But I started to like him later. Um, and yeah, what happens to him is, damn, that sucked. And then Chris gets involved later. He gets to play as Chris, and that was good. I love when Chris got involved. And oh my god, Wesker. Wesker was like my favorite thing about this game. I had a feeling he was going to be there because he's in the title menu picture, but he's alive again. I didn't know I mean, I was like, oh yeah, he died because I saw the scene in Chris's story where he's dead, but in Jill's story he doesn't die. But the real story is he does die in the first game. So I was like, oh yeah, he's back to life now and he's got powers, and he was just so goofy. I loved how he acted in Code Veronica so much. Definitely my favorite thing about that game. But yeah, it was a very, very hard game. I couldn't cheat. I had to rely on ink ribbons, and I wasn't used to using ink ribbons, so I would just smash him out, and then I'd be like, oh shit, I can't save unless I find an ink ribbon. one time it was very late at night. I did a lot of progress. I'm in danger, caution status. Claire's just limping around. I had no ink ribbons. I just wanted to save. I did all of this effort and I couldn't save. I'm going around looking for an ink ribbon. I have to wake up for work in some hours. I could leave my PS5 in rest mode, but I could risk my son turning the PS5 off. So I didn't want that happening. So I stayed up for hours looking for an ink ribbon, and I don't want to progress with the story because I would get hurt, and die. So I'm looking and looking, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to find an ink ribbon. My nose is not making me say ink ribbon properly. Anyway, that was so I'm limping around. I'm trying to find one. I said, you know what? Let me go to the metal deposit box. You know when you have to put your metal inside the box. And because yeah, you have to. There's like the metal detection part. I went there and I left one ink ribbon in that box. I was so happy. I saved and turned the PS5 off and I went to bed. That was the worst moment I had with Code Veronica. Just that one moment where I did a lot of progress, but I didn't have any ink ribbons because I wasn't used to. I just kept using them. I kept abusing them, but people online were saying don't use them like a lot. Just save them and use it when you have to. And so that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I started doing when I replayed 2 and 3. Not so much with Code Veronica. After, yes, I did, but yeah. Now Code Veronica. I originally had it as A, and then I switched it to S. But then I switched it back to A. In my heart, this is an S tier game. That's how much I enjoyed it. It was such a long game. It was like a fun ride. But at the same time, there's a lot of issues with the game that I can't sort of ignore. Like, I love the game. I love the characters. I became a huge Claire fan because of the game. And Chris as well, to be honest. And Wesker, of course. But the backtracking you have to do, the soft locks, the tyrant fight on the plane. If you didn't have anything there, you were screwed. I had something, luckily. They need to warn you more. So there's a lot of soft locks in this game where you'll save, and if you didn't have anything with you, you're just screwed because after this save, there's a boss fight, and if you don't have anything that around, you just lose. So there's the plane fight. You go on the plane, and you can save there. I think I saved, but I made another slot because my friend told me, he warned me a lot, saying there's a lot of soft locks. Make sure you always make a spare save. So I started doing that around that time. So I made a spare save, and then yes, there's a tyrant boss fight on that plane. And if you didn't bring anything with you and you saved on that plane while it's up in the air, good luck. You will have nothing. You have to fight the tyrant with nothing. I'm lucky I saved all of these ammos. Actually, no, I think I didn't have as much ammo because I used them on the tyrant on the ground before you fly up, because you fight him and then you fight the tyrant again in the plane. But I didn't have much, so I went back to my old data and I saved more ammo, and then I saved and yeah, I had more ammo with me. And then this one was the worst one. So when Chris gets involved, you play as Chris, then you play as Claire again. And it's like, okay, cool, I get to play as Claire again. So you're playing as Claire again. And then there's a part where she's trapped, and it's after when Steve dies. And she's like in that room stuck with him. With you know how he's dead in there. Then you get to play as Chris again. If Claire had everything on her, you can't get that with Chris. It's not even in the deposit box, like the chest box, where you can store your weapons. They're not there. They're just on Claire, and you can't get them because they're on Claire. So that happened to me where I was Chris. I was like, I didn't have shit with me. I was like, oh my God, I gave everything to Claire because I thought I would have to use her more, and maybe it'll give me a chance to like warn, just saying, hey, you're going to play as Chris forever now. You're not going to play as Claire anymore. And there was no warning about that. So it was just, yeah, that screwed me over. So I had to like do all of this progress again as Chris before you get to play as Claire again. But I already knew what to do, so I smashed it, that part. But it was just annoying that yes, you can get soft lock. So when I knew I had to play as Claire again, but only for a bit, I just took the pistol with me. Her pistol, that was it. And I left everything in the box. And yeah, I got to play as Chris and everything was there. But still, that soft lock sucked. So yeah, there's a lot of soft locks. The backtracking is annoying. I had to keep going to the freaking Ashford twins' house. I just had to keep going back and forth. Claire's line, the cross-dressing freak line, was funny. If they ever remake this game, I know they're not going to have that line in the game, unfortunately, but that was funny. No hate against certain things, just it's just a funny line. But because of the backtracking and soft locks, unfortunately, I'm going to put in A. If it didn't have those, it's definitely S. Very hard game, but I love how it's hard, and it pushed me with Resident Evil games because it made me more it made me more like familiar how to play the games because I couldn't cheat with it unless I played on emulator. But yeah, so in my heart it's S, but I know it's A because of the backtracking and the soft locks. There's a lot of soft locks and the backtracking is just it's too much. Oh, this reset. I don't know why. Let me just oh god, that's annoying. You know what? Let's. Oh my god, why did this reset? Let me just put him back. What's that? Oh yeah, I know what that is. Outbreak. Yeah, so I don't know how these games came back. Like randomly refreshed or something. Oh yeah, no, I didn't play that one. Okay, here we go. I think that's fixed up, right? Yes. Okay. Resident Evil 1 remake. I look, how do I say this without sounding like it? It's nothing to do with the game. I was very interested by the game. It's a very good game. My issue was I sort of played the PS1 game sort of recently, like not like maybe 2 months ago, a few months ago, and I wasn't looking forward to playing the same game again that quick, but with better graphics and but you know, it's different story, like different cutscenes and everything. I'm not saying it's the same game, but better graphics. It's more than that. Trust me, it is. But I just didn't feel like playing one again. But I got into it. I was like, you know what? Screw that. I just because the whole doors thing got to me again. I was like, I don't want to deal with the doors and everything again. But I saw some cutscenes and I was like, damn, like it is interesting how they changed it and there's differences. So I smashed it down. I said, you know what, I'm gonna play the remake one, even if I played one a few months ago and I don't really know if I want to play it or not. But I enjoyed it. It's very good. I loved it. The Crimson Heads. Oh my god. The only thing that annoyed me was you didn't like they wanted to keep it faithful to the original game where you don't have more item slots. You can't get like a bag like in RE2, right? In RE3 where you can just get more items. You can hold more items. So if you want to burn a zombie's dead body, because if a zombie's body is on the ground and you leave and you come back and it's still on the ground, they will turn into a crimson head. And you don't want to deal with a crimson head, so you got to carry like all these items with you, and it just you didn't have room sometimes. So you would go, oh, there's a zombie on the ground, so I have to waste my time to go to the chest, the item box, and get the lighter and oil and this and that, burn the body, and then just put them away and repeat every time there's a body there. And sometimes you would forget. Sometimes I forgot and I went to a room and there was like four crimson heads. I was like, oh my god! I quickly ran by them. I had to use like my rocket launcher. Um. Oh, that reminds me of Resident Evil 3. What I didn't like about just in Resident Evil 3, I didn't like how some items weren't like a key item that you didn't have to have in like your item slots. I wish it was just like a key item like in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 1. I didn't like how the lockpick and the lighter were like separate items that you had to carry with you instead of and would waste space with items. That's something I didn't like about the game. But other than that, everything's good. So yeah, with Resident Evil Remake 1, I did like how you have the dagger and the taser. That was good. I like how they added that. They added a lot of stuff. The graphics are great. How a game like that at that time just looks so good. The atmosphere, the models. Oh my god, the models. I said I'm gonna play as Chris because I didn't get to play as Chris. I didn't play as Chris in the original RE1 game, so I played as Chris. But while I'm playing as Chris, I'm like, let me see how Jill looks. I'm playing as Jill and Julia Voff, and there was jiggle physics on movement with Jill. I erased my Chris data and saved over as Jill, and I played RE1 Remake as Jill instead of Chris. That model, just the 3D model and the voice and everything, yeah, I just lost control and I just used Jill again. I was meant to use Chris, but this freaking male mind took over and I just yeah, so I played as Jill again. But I got to see more stuff with Barry and then there was Lisa Trevor as well. I thought that was very interesting. I was like, oh, they've added something different. And yeah, the way they do stuff from one, like most of it's the same, but there's some differences. And yeah, I can't believe how good that game looks. It's a very good remake. I still played with tank controls because I couldn't play with the other controls. It just felt off to me to play a fixed camera game with no tank controls. Didn't feel right to me. So I just went with the tank controls. And yeah, I love how they added more stuff. Wesker and Barry, you can hear him talking. And then Barry's like, "Oh, I'm talking to myself. Place makes me crazy." Huh. And they kept the Jill sandwich line. That was good. And yeah, Enrico, they kept that as well. That was so good. But yeah, I can't believe like how good that game looks. Still looks great. Definitely an S tier game. It's a very S tier game. The only complaint I had was I just didn't really feel like playing one again because it sort of felt like the same thing. It's not. It's not like it. Of course, it feels better, looks better, everything. I'm not trying to say it's the same thing. It's just when you compare, like, I did want to play the Resident Evil 2 remake because it's so different to Resident Evil 2. It's not like fixed camera, but better graphics and some changes and all that. It's a completely new game with, yes, 2, right? It's 2, but like it's a different game, RE engine and all that. So I was more excited to playing those remakes than this remake. But I played it for some time and I was like, you know what? I'm into this now. And I got into it. And yeah, so it's just me sort of maybe not wanting to deal with the whole keys, doors situation again. But I said, you know what? I'll just play it. And yeah, very, very good game. S tier, great graphics. I loved it. And yeah, oh my God, such a good game. Seeing more Wesker was nice as well. All right. Resident Evil 0. I heard a lot of bad things about this game and I wanted to give it a chance because Rebecca like looks really good, the model, right? I love Rebecca's model and Billy, I thought he was pretty interesting. The train part was good. I loved the train part. Then you get to the mansion and I didn't like the mansion part. It was just like people say it's like one, but it's for me it wasn't. It was just worse and I didn't like how there was no because you could switch between characters, and that's cool how they introduced that for the first time where you can do that, sure. But it just wasn't executed properly. Like, hey, you have to drop the weapons on the ground instead of leaving them in the item box. Like, sorry, the storage chest box, whatever you want to call it. They didn't have that in Zero. You just had to drop the weapons. So you would go, oh, I need this weapon, this thing I dropped. And it's all the way then. You have to run all the way to get that. Bring it back. The fucking grapple, the hook shotgun. The hook shotgun. You need that like 4 times, 3 or 4 times in the game. So you would drop it somewhere because it takes up 2 items in your storage, right? it takes up 2 items, and you just you just need that thing like 3 or 4 times. You have to keep running back for it. I did enjoy some stuff with Zero. Um, like I didn't like the middle. I liked the start. I didn't like the middle. The end part was fine. I liked it. It was fine. Um, but yeah, I liked the characters, but I just didn't have a good time playing it. I just didn't have a good time. I don't know. I wish I had a good time with it, but I just dropping the items, and yeah, that was the main issue. Dropping the items and the mansion part, and those enemies, the green grass ones, those ones, I hated them. They were there early in the game as well, and you had to carry the bottle with the fire, um to counter those enemies. And oh my god, it wasn't fun. So where do I put it? I think I'm gonna have to go with C. Like, I like some stuff about it, you know. I fought the tyrant battles. Like, come on, did you have to put a tyrant here, really? Like, it's cool, but I don't know. It was just a very hard game, but not because it was hard. Like, oh, this is hard and this and that. It was just hard because it's like all of these problems could have been solved if you had just let us put the items in a storage, right? The storage, and that was it. Like, cool. Instead of dropping them on the ground and you have to run all the way back. And the mansion part I didn't like. Did like the characters, and it's sort of like a game where it's like Rebecca's gonna be fine because it's before the first game, so you're just like, oh yeah, it was cool, but just it wasn't that necessary much. It was fine. It was the leeches and everything. I don't know. It's either B or C, but I'm gonna give it to C. Just I didn't like the whole item dropping thing. Great characters, but yeah. I'm not going to talk about Resident Evil 4 because, oh my god, what time is it here? Is it 12 a.m. yet? My camera dropped, so that's why the position might be different now. But I was just checking the time. Have I been going on an hour just about these 6 games? Jesus Christ, I'm going to have to speed this up because it's like going to be New Year's in less than an hour. I'm not going to talk about Resident Evil 4. I'm going to save that for the end because there's some controversy with that game. I don't know why, but sure. And the remake as well. I'll talk about them at the end. Resident Evil 5, I was happy to play it because it was like 4. Except I didn't like how Shiva could, if she dies, that's it. And I wasn't used to a co-op sort of game. Because I didn't play Zero until after 5. So this was my first co-op sort of game. I didn't like how if you look through your items, you can still it doesn't pause the game like in 4 and the other games. It's like it's still like they can still hit you and everything. So I had to get used to that as well, and making sure Shiva didn't die. So for me, um, it was very hard to get used to. But once I got used to it, I enjoyed it. But I still felt like it could have been better as I was playing it. Like I just didn't enjoy it as much as the other Resident Evil games. Keep in mind, I only played 1 to 4 and Code Veronica at that time. So I was kind of like, it's like 4, but sort of worse, and just it's hard like to keep track of the partner. I did like how it wasn't as fun as the merchant RE4, but I did like how there's a shop every time you entered the story. Like there's always the shop there and the money. I did like that because you can buy the items to heal you, the spray, instead of just the merchant going, oh, I don't sell this much, stranger. But so I did like how you could always buy those items. But yeah, just swapping the items around and all that. So I was prepared to put. Actually, let me say a bit more. I like how the game had Chris, Jill, Shiva, Wesker, and it was good. When I was playing it, yeah, just I don't know, it just felt like it was 4 but worse. I did like how it was like 4, but it could have been better as I was playing it. So originally, I had it at B rank when I was playing it, and I got used to it and everything. I was like, it's good. I like Chris. I love his voice, and I just love the characters. They're good. But you know, just I had him B because it's fine, but it could have been better. And then the Wesker stuff happened. You know, Jill was that um, there was that masked person. It was Jill, and she was blonde in that suit. That's not why the game might not be B. But shut up! Don't stop saying I'm a Goomba, Goona, Goomba. No, I'm joking. The Wesker stuff happened. So Wesker finally showed up. I was like, "Where's Wesker? Where's Wesker?" And my God, 7 minutes. That's all the time I have to play for. I think something like that. But the 7 minutes part, the boss fight, the music, the way Wesker acted, he carried that game for me. He definitely made it better for me. So because of the whole Wesker part, not Wesker like only, just the part where Wesker shows up and from there to the end of the game, that changed my opinion and put this game to A tier. I enjoyed that part so much. I wish Wesker was earlier, like just there a bit earlier in the game. But it's fine. It's fine. They just he was near the end. I guess they just want to keep him as a surprise and stuff. But I did like a lot of stuff from this. You know, Chris and Jill going to Spencer's mansion, and yeah, like that DLC was great at the start. Then it sort of fell off after, but and then the Wesker fight was good. And then Chris, when he finds like when Jill dies, he's all buff now. After that, he started working out. And I did like how Jill wasn't dead, so that's good, and she looked amazing. But yeah, the Wesker stuff happened, and it changed my opinion and put it from B to A. So not an S tier game for me, but I love the game now. But for me, it's just A. But I love that Wesker part. Revelations. I wanted to talk about Revelations after near the end, to be honest. Or should I just quickly talk about Revelations now? I'll just talk about Revelations. It's not the same Julia. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. It's not Julia Voff, the same Jill model, but I still like the one in Revelations. It looked great in the camera angle. Oh my god, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I was excited because I love Jill, so I was like, oh, I get to play as Jill again. Great. And then Chris is in the game too, which is awesome. The only thing is, I didn't like the other characters. All the other characters, some of them grew on me later, like Parker, Raymond, but I just, and Jessica, my sweet ass will be there. Just shut up, you know. Oh my god. But just, I didn't like the other characters. I love, Jill and Chris, but they were just thrown in there with all these characters that didn't seem Resident Evil like. Very goofy. I hated those two guys, Jackass and the other guy. I hated them. And you played as a lot of the other characters a lot of times. A lot of times. I was looking forward to just playing as Jill a lot. And you got to play as Chris sometimes. Like, oh, that's cool. But then you play as the other characters and then what happened back then. And yeah, the game was longer than I thought, which was nice. It was nice. But just I felt like the game could have been better. It was a bit slow. You can't even run. Sometimes you're like, what the hell do I do? It was good. It was good, but I just didn't like the other characters. The story was just fine. And look, it is not a main game, so I get why it's not going to be that amazing. But as much as I want to put an A, for me it was just a B game. B. Like, just I don't know, it was a bit boring. I hated when I had to play as the other characters. But I did like the Jill scenes and Chris scenes. But then I found it funny that with the final boss, Chris is telling you what to do and where to shoot, and he's just shooting anywhere on the boss where you have to, but you have to shoot the weak spot on the boss, and Chris is just shooting anywhere, and it's like, dude, why are you telling me what to do when you're not even doing it? You know. But yeah, I did like the final boss because you had to get used to the movements and everything, even though it was very hard for me. But Yeah, but I just found it a bit boring. So I'm gonna put it in B. It's it's a good game. It could have been better. Just the other characters, and it was a bit slow, and you can't run, and just I don't know. But I still like it. Just but it's B for me. It's B for me. Resident Evil 6. I heard a lot of bad things about this game, almost ruining the franchise, and just too action packed, and other things like that. I downloaded it and I wasn't meant to play it yet because I still didn't finish 5, but I wanted to. I was curious. I was like, let me try this out. Let me see what people like, like what makes this game bad. So I think you have to play as Leon and Helena at the start only, and then after you can switch the characters. But I was having fun because you can punch and kick the zombies without like stunning them. Like, cause usually in the other games, when you shoot them and they're like, "Arr, arr," like this, that's when you can kick and punch them. But in this one, you can just do it without shooting them. I was like, oh my god! And I actually had fun. I was like, hang on, this game is peak. No, I'm joking. It's not peak, but I was like, hang on, this game is really good. Like it was fun. Like I don't know why. I was like, damn, this game is actually like it feels fun. Like why did people hate this? So I got to 6 and I played Leon and Helena first because I was excited to play as Leon again. And I didn't mind that some stuff was a bit weird, but it makes sense that when you play the other characters' stories, you go, okay, that makes sense now. But still, some of the stuff is weird. But I had fun. I thought the gameplay was fun. Sometimes it could be a bit repetitive, but I liked kicking and punching the zombies, and I liked how it was zombies again. Um, but I did have fun. I was like, oh, this is actually very, very good. And then he does his women at the end, and I was like, yes, there it is. But I had a good time with it. I was like, I didn't see the issue. And then I played the other characters' stories. I think I played so I did Leon and Helena, and then I think I did Chris and Pierce after. Yeah, I think I played as Chris after, and I, I was like, oh yeah, it's fun. I get to shoot a lot, but it gets so repetitive. I feel like after Leon's part, it just the other ones weren't as good. The story, and it's not because it's Leon. It's just I don't know. The Chris's one, it was just very repetitive. Lots of the same enemies. Um, the story was fine, but it was just very repetitive. I'm just shooting a lot. And then you run out of ammo, so you're just punching and punching and punching. And then you need ammo. And instead of enemies dropping ammo, or when you smash crates for ammo, it's just skill points. And it's like, I don't need this now. Give me ammo. So I hated that about Resident Evil 6, even with Leon's part. But I feel like with Leon's part, they wanted to make it more like horror Resident Evil with action, whereas Chris was just full action non-stop, and it just got so repetitive. Then Ada's one, I didn't like the submarine part at the start. I hated that part so much. Then it gets better the more you play it. So I played Ada's one after. I didn't like it at start, but then later, yeah, it got better, but still repetitive, just repetitive. And then I did Jake and Sherry's one. It wasn't that bad, like, but it's still just. I got sick of it when I was playing, and I was like, I want it to end. I think it's not because Leon's one was good. It was more just like the game is long and it's not that good. I like a game when it's really long, but if it's not that good, like it kept getting worse the more campaigns, and I just yeah, I don't know. I loved it at first when I was playing Leon's one, but then after I got sort of sick of it, and it was very repetitive. Um. And very repetitive, just shooting, 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 shooting with Chris's one. And I find it funny that you didn't have the shotgun, and then you play a scene like Chris is thinking about something that happened back then. You find the shotgun back then, and then when he thinks about like when he goes back to present day, you have the shotgun. It's like what the fuck? Like did why didn't you have the shotgun with you before? What? Because you were thinking about the past, you getting the shotgun there. You have it now. Like it was just that was funny, but yeah, just the game got sort of repetitive. I could see why people didn't like it as much. I do like. Nah, it's not. Nah, it does. I don't want to say it deserves the hate, but yeah, just I liked it at first, but the more I played it, the more sick of it I got, and it was so long. I was worried that I wasn't gonna finish all of the Resident Evil games by the end of the year. Keep in mind, I think I played the remakes before I played six, like Resident Evil 2, 3 remakes before six, I think. So when I go to six, I'm just like, ugh, like I liked it at first, but I just got sick of it. So I want to put in B, but I can't. It's C. I really want to put in B. We'll just leave it in C for now. It just, yeah, it was great, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Maybe it could be a bit overhated sometimes, but I don't know. But it's it it was fun. It was fun sometimes. But yeah, just it felt like it was never gonna end. It felt like it was never, ever, ever gonna end. And then it ended. I was so happy. I just uninstalled it straight away. I was like, I'm done. That's it. It's over. Man. Revelations 2. That was it was good. It was better than the first Revelations in my opinion. I got to play as Claire again. Um and got to play as Barry as well. It was good. You switched characters. Sometimes that was nice. That's how Resident Evil 9 is going to be, where you switch between characters. When you go through the story. I enjoyed it. I liked how I didn't get to play as a bunch of other characters. You did have to play as Moira and the little girl. I forgot the little girl's name in Barry's one. And yeah, the story's cool how they've got the bracelet on and the fear and everything. Um, some stuff you can just solve by like I don't know why they just some parts are locked up, even though you can easily hop over those things and go there. But sure, there was just that issue where it's like it's not impossible to cross over this and go to this next part instead of going all the way around. But sure, but it's fine. Um, but no, it was good. I was surprised it was good because Revelations 1 for me was just sort of B tier. But I enjoyed Revelations 2. Seeing Claire again was great. Seeing Barry again was great. I liked how the enemies were. Um, it was just fun. It was really fun. I like how you didn't have to play as the other characters much, only when you had to use the flashlight and or go through the gaps and press the switch, and that was it. I got the bad ending. I didn't realize Moira or Claire could pick up the gun when Nil's on top of her. I didn't realize. I must have moved the analog on Claire and pressed X. I didn't realize. She looked a bit disappointed and then grabbed the gun and started shooting. And I was like, okay, that's weird. But yeah, because of that, I got the bad ending. I just didn't realize I could pick between the two who picks up the gun. So yeah, but it was fun. It was good. It was very good. I will say it's A. It's A. It's not S, but it could have been a bit better. But look for like not a main game. Um, and for like a Revelations game, it was very good, very good. I want another Revelations game, hopefully. But yeah, I was expecting it to be a bit better than one, but no, it was actually much better than one. I do like one, but yeah, for me, Revelations 2 is A tier. Very good game. Resident Evil 7, the game that saved the franchise. I wasn't looking forward to playing 7 because I'm not a fan of first person games, Like I mean, I don't mind first person, but playing Resident Evil games where it's not first person, it's like, oh, I have to go to first person now. And I've been told that was a very, very, very scary game. Um, and then there's Ethan as well, so I was like, oh yeah. But after playing 6 and after everything I went through, I was like, you know what? I don't care about those things now. I really want to play 7. So I was very excited to play 7 because just how long 6 was. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, because I wasn't looking forward to 7. But then after 6, I was like, yep, I'm excited to play it now. And it was interesting, he's looking for his wife. He goes to the house. And then Mia's there and she's all fucked up. And He like cuts his hand off and everything like that. It was very wild this time. I was like, oh my god! And then Jack comes and knocks out Ethan, and he's at the dinner table, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Um, I enjoyed the game. It was good. I didn't like how it wasn't like a typical Resident Evil game, if that makes sense. It was more like a horror game, and that's the point. That's the point. They wanted to go back to horror, so they did that. But how do I explain it? Because when you look at the old Resident Evil games, yes, it's horror, but it's not like horror, and they were like ooh scary, ooh like jump scares and all that. It was different to the horror they had, but yeah, so it was like those first person horror games, So it was more like that than a Resident Evil game for me, but there was some stuff that was like Resident Evil in the game. Didn't like how the knife you had to have it in an item like a weapon slot, which it was just like one button. I hate when some games do that, and it's like ugh, that was annoying. Because sometimes you'd have all these weapons, and then there was something you need to cut the knife, so you had to switch your items to the knife, cut, and then switch that knife out and put that weapon back. But no, it was better than I thought it was gonna be because I was a bit worried to play it, but it was better than I thought. It was better than I thought. I didn't hate Ethan. Apparently some people hated Ethan for being too vanilla in that game. I thought he was fine. He was funny. I loved his lines. And the bakers were funny. It was all good. The tapes stuff was a bit there sometimes. The Lucas tape was funny. The party one. Um, but no, it was a good game. It was a very good game. My favorite part though is when Jack comes in and he's all fucked up. He's got one big eye and one small eye. Like he looks like the mask in the comic books, not the movie, where he's got the one big eye. But that's not my favorite part. He says, "Zoe, get your ass back inside." I think that's what he says. It's not that part. It's when you're fighting Jack. Zoe comes in and she's like, "Use the serum. It's fine. Use the serum on him. Who cares? Whatever. Yeah." So use the serum on him, and he stops and he's gone. That's it. And then you go outside, and there's only one serum left because you made two. And Zoe tells you to use one on Jack to stop him. And then it's like, oh yeah, all right, got the serum, and you have to select Mia or Zoe. And they're like, oh, we only got one serum left. And it's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And that's Zoe all like, what are we gonna do? And it's like, what the fuck? You just casually said, oh yeah, use the spare serum on Jack. Like whatever. And then later when you have to pick between me or Zoe, like, oh no, what are we gonna do? It's like, why were you so carefree about it before? And now you're just like, oh no, who's gonna get the serum? And yeah, I wasn't sure who to select, but I selected Mia because it's like, all right, it's his wife. But apparently, if you select Zoe, she dies anyway, and Mia. So I'm glad I selected Mia. Sorry, Zoe, but yeah. So I selected Mia, and yeah. So I just found that part funny where she was casually like, "Oh yeah, use the second serum. That's fine. Who cares?" And then later, I was like, "Oh no, like we only have one left. Like, it's like you told me to use the other one before." But I just found that funny. I didn't like the boat part with Mia. It wasn't Mia's fault, just the boat part. I didn't like it much. I don't know. It was a bit confusing, and I was just like, "Where the fuck do I go?" I thought it was going to end down the boat when you're escaping from the house, but then yeah, the other boat part happens, and yeah, so I didn't like that part much. And then you get to play as Ethan again, and then you fight the little girl who I forgot the name, who was actually the old lady this whole time. That was a nice twist. That was good. And then, but what I liked about near the end was it did sort of become more Resident Evil like because there was the files about a bio weapon, which was the girl, and you hear on the radio about Alpha, is it Alpha or Bravo? Just you can tell it's Chris, and it's like, oh my god, that's Chris, and so it did become a bit more Resident Evil like near the end when they're talking about bio weapons, and you know, then Umbrella's good now, which was pretty crazy to see Umbrella being good. I did like the Chris DLC. I didn't like the Chris model. Like, apparently people were so confused, going, "Who the fuck is this?" And yeah, Chris, but even though it doesn't look like him. I knew it was Chris because I heard he was in the game. So I was like, oh, this is Chris, even though it doesn't look like him. But apparently, to the people that played 7 when it first came out, they just didn't know who the fuck that was. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's Chris. And like, what the fuck? And yeah, Umbrella being good was so weird. But yeah, for me, it's so Biohazard is A. It's not S for me because just it was more like a generic horror game um, than Resident Evil game, you know. So yeah, for me, it's A. Good game though. It's a bit short as well. It's a bit short. I thought it would be a bit longer, but no, it is short. So it's not super short, but it could have been longer. But yeah, so for me, it's A, which is still good. Like A is still great. Let me see how much time do I have left. Okay, 35. That's fine. Now we move on to Resident Evil 2 Remake. When I first got this game, I wanted to play it instantly, even though I didn't really play much of the other Resident Evil games. I don't know if I played. I think I played it before 6. Um, I was playing it and I was like, oh my god, like this game is just completely new. It was my first RE Engine game. Yep, it was. And Mr. X was there, even though it was the character A. I was like, oh my god, like he's already here and he stalks you like crazy. I was like, oh my god, and you hear his footsteps and everything. It was a very interesting way of playing Resident Evil. It really was. I had so much fun with the RE engine, like first RE engine game, and it was amazing. Resident Evil 2. I love the way the characters look. They added more to the story. Of course, they did cut some stuff out. Like there wasn't as much Leon and Claire moments, but there wasn't like a lot of cuts. Like there was some cuts, sure, but people like will hate on this game because for some little cuts, and it's like, all right, relax. Just because Leon and Claire didn't talk that one extra time in the remake doesn't mean it's a bad game. No, the gameplay is fun. I love how you can use the original sound effects and music. I had a great time. I love the graphics, the the story. I love the story, even though yes, there's some cuts, but it's fine. They're not huge cuts. I didn't like how the knife could break, but I get it. I get it. But at the same time, the other games, the knife never breaks, so they introduced a whole knife breaking thing. But it was fine. It was just a way to survive, and but it was really good. I couldn't believe how good that remake was. Just to see the characters like HD and new models and new voice acting, and they all did a good job. Um, they all look great. Yeah, so I played Leon's story first only. Then I moved on to the other games. But then after I played Claire's story after. And so but I wanted to play the original Claire story first before I played the remake one. So I did both of those. And yeah, so Resident Evil 2 remake, very, very good game. I love how Mr. X was around a lot. Even though it's annoying, but I still found it good that he was there. Um It's S tier game. S tier. I love it. I love the game. It is so good. Just the gore was amazing. Um the Marvin scenes, they're great. They added more. I don't know. I didn't enjoy the last part in the remake as much as in the original. I feel like it was better in the original. Um because I didn't grab the flamethrower. I thought the flamethrower was gonna be in the umbrella facility, like in the original game, but no. Apparently, it was before in like some in the sewer part, and I was like, oh shit! So I had to play that whole part without the flamethrower, and that sucked for me. But yeah, that sucked for me. But I'm not gonna put it in AT or something because of that. No. So yeah, definitely S tier game. Resident Evil 3 remake. I heard a lot of bad things about this, but I didn't want people's opinions changing me. But I want to play it. I played it. Yeah, the game's short. I do love the characters though. They did a great job with Jill, Carlos, um, and Carlos's friend as well. I forgot his name, but I liked him as well. He was good. So I liked the characters. I didn't like Nikolai. in the remake as much, and Nemesis didn't really stalk as much. Nemesis turns into a dog early in the game. Um, they cut out they cut out sections of the original game in the remake instead of remaking it. The hospital scene was really good with Carlos. Carlos goes to the RPD instead of Jill, but I was still fine with that. Like it was good. Sorry, Poster Boy. And I like how you get to see Brad more as well. That was nice. Sorry. Um, but yeah, it was good, but it was short. They cut out a lot of things from the original remake, but I did love the way Jill looked and her voice and yeah, just the characters were great except for Nikolai. He was disappointing. He was a bit goofy. He was very very goofy. It wasn't as tough and cool in the original game. It was just a very goofy, not in a good way, goofy villain. Um, and Nemesis, yeah, it could have been a bit better, but I liked the stalking in the remake. It was good, but like I would have liked it if there was more. There wasn't much. So it was a very disappointing remake. I did enjoy it when I played it, but at the same time, I was like, it could have been better. So I don't think it's C. I don't think it's C. I still like a lot of things about the game. There's a lot of things I don't like how they cut a lot of things from the original game. They changed the ending as well. But I did like the characters besides Nikolai, and I thought the game was a bit fun. I hated how the knife was back in like your weapon slots instead of just being like L1 where you can just slash it. But sure, like that okay, sure. But I did enjoy it though, but it's not an A or S tier game, unfortunately. But I love the characters except for Nikolai and Nemesis. They shouldn't have turned him into a dog early in the game. I was okay with it, but at the same time, I was like, I wish there was more Nemesis stuff. But it is. There's a lot of good stuff about it, but a lot of bad stuff, unfortunately. But at least they know to not make a game like that ever again. And now, before I talk about Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil 4, I'm going to talk about Resident Evil Village. So, I was looking forward to Village because, apparently Ethan is better in the game. Wasn't You didn't have to play first person. You can play, third person, but you can't like when you run back, you don't see the face running back because obviously you don't see Ethan's face. But I played it like that. I'm gonna play it in first person, even though people recommend first person. I don't care. I'm gonna play it in third person because that's how I am with Resident Evil games. I don't want first person unless it's these games, right? This and the Umbrella one was these two. But because it's sort of light gun shooter game, I want third person, not first person. So, but yeah, I was looking forward to Village because it was I got to play as Ethan again, and yeah, it was very funny. The game is very good. I enjoyed it so much. Chris, besides him not telling Ethan why he shot Mia, like I get why he didn't, but at the same time, it was a bit like I love the way they did Chris. The part where you play as Chris was good. I'm glad he wasn't evil or something. You sort of find out after why he did those things. My favorite part when he's just texting on the phone, he's like, "Hang on a second, I'm messaging Jill. She be wet right now." I don't know, just, just you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I love Chris's design. The part where you play as him is great. Yeah, I enjoyed the game so much. I feel like with the first part they didn't rush that the Lady D's castle that took some time, which was nice. Then the two other ones after that, they sort of felt like they didn't last as long as her one, which is fine. And then there's Heisenberg and oh, I love how he makes a reference to Chris punching the rock, the boulder. That's another reason why I put Resident Evil 5 in A tier. No, I'm kidding, but but no, it was a good game. It was a very good game. The DLC was fine. I didn't like it at first, but the more I played it, the more I liked the DLC. We get to play as Rose. And it was no, but it was interesting. It was very different to 7. You're in the open. I like the enemies. The enemies were great. The mold enemies were so weak in 7, they just died easily. But when there was a few of them, yeah, it got hard. But yeah, I liked the enemies in 8. Um, there was some scary stuff, like 7, but it was more, just felt more like a Resident Evil remake game to me. And that's what I loved about it. I was like, oh my god, this is like Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4, I played Resident Evil 4 remake before that, which is why I'm saying that. But yeah, I just enjoyed it because it was more like the remake Resident Evil games instead of like 7. Um, but yeah, just the way you had your items, the all there, and great game. And then you find out Ethan died during 7, and then he's mold. That was a good twist. Makes sense because when I went to that part and he was getting drilled and he tanked it, I'm like, how the hell's he alive? Like, if there was another character, they would have died instantly if there was a drill in their body. And then you find out he's already dead. So that's why. That was a good twist. I like that twist and it made sense. But yeah, for me, Village, S tier game. I enjoyed it so much. I had a good time with it. I'm glad I didn't have to play first person. Chris was great. Ethan was great. I love his lines. I'll take my chances and call myself a big one. And I don't know if he says that in 7 or Village. I don't remember now, but yeah, it was good. I had fun. I was like, damn, this is like an RE remake game, and that's what I love about it the most. And it felt more like a Resident Evil game compared to 7. Like 7's good, but it just felt like a very generic horror game. But I love 7. It was like a mix of horror and action. Like they did like a great balance there. So for me, 7 is S. Now, Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 Remake. Where do they go? Hmm. Where do they go? This is what I think about Resident Evil 4. Beyond S. It has its own tier. I loved Resident Evil 4 so much. And like I said before, it's not online influence. I played the original game. At first, I was a bit like, like because of the controls and everything, but I got used to it. But my god, what a blast I had. The game is funny. You get to play as Leon. He's really funny and cool. And the characters are great. Ashley and Luis and Ada's there. Wesker too, more in the remake, not so much in the original. But my god, I know some people are gonna get upset with Resident Evil 4 just being like my favorite Resident Evil games, and they're gonna think it's like online influence. But no, I get it. I get it. I played them, and I'm just like, oh my god, these are the best ones. I know it's not your generic in a mansion and horror, this and that, but they're still Resident Evil games, and they're S tier for me. I just love the characters. When I was playing the game, it felt like a journey, and I was just wondering the whole time, like, how's this gonna end? Like so with the other games, maybe I didn't predict how they're gonna end, but just with 4, I was like, what's gonna happen? And it just caught my eye so much, and it was very interesting. Lots of things happened. The games were very long. The merchant, I love the merchant in both of them. I'm so glad in the remake they gave him more lines, but I do love the merchant. I do love how in the remake, there's some things I like about the original better than the remake, and then there's some stuff in the remake I like better than the original. So I'm glad the merchant had more stuff, lines and everything in the remake. I didn't like Krauser in the remake. I like Krauser in the original game. He's all like tough. And he's like you, I'm an American, and and he was with like Umbrella made him that way, not Los Plagas. But in the remake, they changed it where it was he. They changed they changed his backstory. I didn't like the new backstory. I liked the old backstory. Um, so yeah, he became one of, he became like, yeah, so it wasn't Umbrella that did in the remake, it was Los Plagas. So I didn't like that, and I didn't like his character much in the remake. I like how he said rookie a lot. That was funny, but I preferred the original Krauser. Um, yeah, Ada for me was good in both games. I like how much they added more to Ada in the remake. Luis, yeah, they added more in the remake as well, which is great. Wesker was there more, which was great as well. But yeah, the original one just had it was funny. The lines were good. In the remake they were good too, but I like the original Salazar better than the remake one. The remake one they made him look very fucked up looking. Sadler, I like how they made him in the remake, and it makes sense why he's like that in the remake. But I do miss the sassy Sadler in the original. He was so funny and just it should keep you busy. And then Leon said the senior citizen moment, and he laughed. And it's just I love the way Sadler was in the original game, but it makes sense to make him very uh religious leader like in the remake. Separate Ways, people said stuff that they didn't like the original Separate Ways as much. I liked the original Separate Ways. I didn't mind it, but of course the remake one is so much better. And it was that DLC is just so good. It is great to use. Added more of Ada. Yeah, remake Ashley's good. I like the original one too. I feel like she gets a lot of hate, but I like the original one as well. Plus, she has Sandy's voice from SpongeBob, so it's funny. Every time I hear her voice, I just think of Sandy now. Leon, help! I hear the Texas voice. But Leon was great in both of them. Of course, he's more depressed in six. I didn't like, yeah, just how they changed the backstory much in the remake, but and I do miss the Mexican voices. I know in the original remake, in the original RE4, they had the Mexican Spanish voices instead of Spanish Spain voices. So in the original, in the remake, of course, they were going to change it to the Spanish Spain one, but the Mexican one was just so charming and so nice. They both sound great, but I was expecting to hear the same sort of stuff in the remake, but no, it's different Spanish. That's why. So it wasn't going to be the same stuff they would say. The NPCs, the enemies, and all that. But yeah, they're both amazing. Very amazing games. Great soundtrack. It was just a journey, the game. And then when it ended, it was just like, damn, this was the best Resident Evil game I ever played. And that was me with both of the four games, which is why I put them both here. I would keep going, but I feel like this video has gone on long enough. But yeah, I love the designs, everything about the games, and just it was so fun. And how you could kick, when you shoot them and they're like this, and you can kick them, and they just added more to the gameplay. The knife just being L1, you can just slash straight away. The way you move around and shoot definitely changed the way a lot of games were. When the original game came out, I didn't even know it got Game of the Year. How cool is that? That is so cool. Hopefully it gets Game of the Year next year, but there's a lot of big games releasing next year, like Grand Theft Auto 6 and Wolverine. I don't know if Wolverine will go. I'm pretty sure Grand Theft Auto 6 will get it, but there's a chance Resident Evil 9 could get it. Cool. But speaking of Resident Evil 9, it would be an S tier game. Like I haven't played it yet, obviously, because it comes out in February. But for me, it's already an S tier game because you get to play as Leon. He's my favorite character, but I didn't forgot to mention that. But yeah, he's my favorite character. And it's not because of online influence, this and that. It's just me playing them. But I love how you get to play as him in the new game 50% of the time. That's amazing. I was happy to play as him 20-30% of the game, but 50% of the game, sweet. So for me, it's already an S tier game. Unless he dies, then it's not going to be an S tier game for me. But yeah, I can't wait for 9. But yeah, I've enjoyed them all. It really carried me through 2025 since it was a very depressing year. But yeah, amazing. I love the series. I wish I got into it sooner, but I'm into it now, and Resident Evil 9 will be my first new Resident Evil game that comes out and we all enjoy. But yeah, thanks for watching. That is my Resident Evil tier list. I know some people might be upset about 4 being the best one, but it's just like, come on, just it's just such a it's like when you're watching it was just a nice good journey. I looked forward to it, just looked forward to playing it so much. I do look forward to playing the other games as well. I do, but 4 was just very special. Very, very special. I love them. So yeah, I can't believe how great this game aged. It is still so good. I still love it. I still play it now and then. I recently finished Mercenaries S Plus. I didn't think I'd be able to do it because every time I did it, even with Wesker, I was just getting B or A rank. I just sucked at it, but I got used to it. And then I got S Plus every stage with every character. Then I unlocked Leon's RPD costume, and yeah, so and there's a lot of stuff you can unlock as well in Resident Evil 4 as well. I like that. So yeah, very huge, like just like it was very different, but also Resident Evil like. But it was just very good games. I love 4. I love them all. But yeah, this is my tier list. I think it's fine. Let me know what you think about my tier list. What's your tier list? But for yeah, just for me, 4 is just it has its own tier above all of the other Resident Evil games. But keep in mind, I love these games as much as 4. Just 4, I just yeah, 4 is my favorite. That's all. Both of them, both of them. I can't pick one. There's just some stuff I prefer in the original, and there's some stuff in the remake. I could keep talking about it, but nah, it's video's gonna go on for a while. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.